continuing the series. And as you can tell, there's a lot going on in this series of our alternate rise of civilization. Here we have the Middle East has a lot of countries. There's some bigger countries, but at this point, all starting to get smaller. As you can see, a lot of nations are falling apart. With finally the Alps being fully discovered, the Italians just annex it. Not Italians, what am I saying? I don't even know. But it's basically the Rome of this timeline, let's say. Well, you could call that. A lot is going on, and I think one of the bigger nations, as you can tell, are here. Probably the strongest is probably India, because it's probably full of resources. And probably the richest is right here. It's right in the center. As you can tell, in some areas are smaller countries. Some areas are bigger. Most stable countries haven't really expanded or don't have anywhere they can really expand. With explorations being sent north by China. Not China. Why do I keep saying what they would be called in our real life? But not. As you can tell, that's not really what I've called it multiple times. With them sending explorers, and these explorers discover the Korean Peninsula. They probably don't call it this, but whatever this nation gets called, it will be called. With some exploring of the waters nearby leads to the discovery of this Japan area. And there's probably little to no traces of our former civilization on this planet. And as you can tell, the nation that takes advantage of this is this nation, which expands up around, but can't expand too far. Because part of its population wants to continue expanding, doesn't get what they want. And that's enough people to do it themselves, they say. With these people moving over here, starting a country here, they quickly move down. Expansionists they are, they move into the Japanese islands. Well, that's not what they call them, but that's besides the point. With other nations doing exploration, but that's probably as north as I can go. With the brown country expanding inwards, away from the water. This allows them to create a stronger nation. And then this green, country moves over here. Really, some nations are still expanding, others aren't in this video. But there's going to be a few interesting events. With this country going to war with that country, interestingly enough, it goes in the invading country's favor. And the country being refused peace, and this is a weak country, as you could guess, I guess. So that nation collapses, and these two nations take land. With it being seen that this nation is a bad nation to most of the world. Where's somewhere to divide up? Well, this area, because it looks not that great, well, we'll make a new country. With this area being made into a country. Now let's go to Africa. As you can tell, they're mostly discovering not in this area, although there's probably people there. There's no civilizations that discovered. The civilizations we're focused on. Also, no civilizations reached the New World yet. And as you can tell, this is with these nations discovering inland, it's going to take a while just because it's jungle. This nation doing some exploration, but for some reason its treasury runs out of money. Which basically means this nation has just exploded. With the coastal kingdom kind of thing, the coastal ruler declaring its desire to leave. And then this kingdom has a desire to leave, and it's located in the north, leaving this nation weak and unstable. Well, as you can tell, when you expand too fast, you fall apart. When you don't expand fast enough, you get weak. But that's what the countries are starting to form. This is where the small nations are, because they fell apart. And it's only a small area of land, so the local states declared its independence. Kind of like this area. And while the exploration of Britain continues to gain the expansionist value to discover it, still Ireland isn't discovered, but all the UK is. And they explore it. Explore it. And they take over huge swaths of land. These swaths of land are pretty big. And they're pretty much expanding. But at this point, once they take over Britain, two rulers, so they go into a succession crisis. Eventually, after annexing some more Scandinavian lands, a problem occurs. Basically a succession crisis. Because there's two people, but no clear heir to the leader who just died. So basically, one of the leaders, more so, takes away the state, gets the state behind and backing it, and they get the Scandinavian area to back it. With the mainland areas being mostly controlled by the Orange Kingdom, but this attack goes pretty well. But then it fails. I thought they could take over the full kingdom. Eventually, it looks like it's just going to fall apart. While the two kings are fighting over land and resources, well, a lot of stuff is going to happen in their kingdoms. And them both losing lots of land. Eventually, a few of the states start succeeding. Is that the perfect opportunity? With this state up here, the local ruler here, being really elected. Don't mind the noise in the background, that's just not a big deal. But yeah, as you can see, the state declares its independence. And another area doing the exact same thing. And they really are this state. There's another state that's like basically a Reichsleaving where it's best to leave. Rulers are being forced to decide is the best to stay part of this empire that's falling apart or leave. Which really becomes more and more favorable as this conflict drags out. More and more nations succeed. Eventually, they realize this, and, well, the ruler that was for the blue gets pretty swiftly pushed back, although they managed to get invaded in the British Isles. But unfortunately, this empire has lost huge areas of land and is much smaller than its former glory. That means nothing. It could also expand more. With a person who wants to have their own nation, deciding, well, maybe I will make my own nation. And they move up here and they form their nation. Everything goes well as they explore up north where they want to be located. They meet with this northern nation, and the northern nation's confused why they'd want to expand even further north than them. But okay, that works. But like, as you can see, a few of the nations are expansionists, some aren't. And the green team expands some more, which is becoming more and more of a bad idea. With not being like the other one, how that collapsed. But like, in this area, they leave. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, there was another nation, I think. And so with all of this, one of the rulers having succeeded from here, starts to look bad on this empire. With here, the other ruler in this state leaves. And there's another area that's altered significantly from the rest of the empire. And like, as you can see, why is it doing that? But anyways, as you can see, this state declares its independence. Let's change it to this one. Color. That may have been a bad idea. But this color. I think that's different than the southern one. I'm not sure. No, it's not different enough. And so that state looks like this. Not exactly. Another area decides to leave. And it becomes known as whatever it becomes known as. Name these countries. There's lots of countries to name. And so on. So forth. With this nation in the north. Let's see, does the center state leave? Well, that'd be something if one of the center states leave, because they're much, in a word that makes sense, much bigger because there's less people. With the full fall of this nation being seen as a warning sign to other nations that rapid expansion could be the death of you. But exploring is okay, I guess, because it doesn't cost as much money as annexing a land and stuff. But really, this proves is that, well, getting too big isn't a good idea. But being small is also bad because you can be invaded. So, like, either way, it's not the best thing. With explorations being made inland, with the exploration discovering, like, the rest of the Japanese islands being made. And they move up. And they go around the coast until they realize it's too cold. They retreat. And that's what they have discovered. And that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Bye, guys!